China, one of the most powerful countries in the world. The country was backing the military regime in the past, now was convicted by Burmese people to be involved with the latest military coup. Anti-military protesters are seen in the streets of Myanmar chanting, "Shame on you, China," and holding up banners in English, Chinese and Burmese. Those pro-democracy protesters recently gathered at the Chinese embassy in Yangon to denounce what they called Beijing's backing for Myanmar's military coup on February 1. Someone seen holding a placard in bold and colorful letters. Myanmar's military dictatorship is made in China. China says she is not interested to interfere in the domestic affairs of Myanmar. But how the Burmese people react to the Chinese statement? A boy with a placard was chanting in Nepedu, "If this is an internal affair, why are you helping the Janta?" The ambassador of China claimed Beijing was not informed in advance of the political change in Myanmar. It dismissed rumors that China was helping the military with the troops and technology. The coup, which took place just weeks after a meeting between China's top diplomat Wang Hai and Min Aung, the general repeated his claims that widespread fraud had occurred in November election. Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy returned to power, gaining majority. Military-backed USDP lost the election. There is a history of warm ties between China and Myanmar army. It is on the run for decades. For military suppression against the pro-democracy leaders, US imposed sanctions. The country fell in crisis. The military government was so desperate for foreign exchange. That's why the military regime went on to grant Chinese companies logging concessions. But that resulted in the destruction of vast areas of forest in northern Myanmar. The military rulers also let Chinese state-owned firms build pipelines spanning the breadth of the country, one of which pipes gas from offshore fields in Myanmar's Andaman Sea straight into China's southern Yunnan province. But the increased reliance on China made the generals nervous. Myanmar was one of the world's poorest countries, and it was obvious that China could do whatever they wanted in the country. They said, "We will just build this pipeline right through the middle of your country." And they did. That worried people, even within the military. Myanmar was under army for more than 50 years. Concerns that Myanmar was turning into a Chinese vassal state, as well as an uprising led by Buddhist monks and continuous demand for democracy, military regime gave in and transferred power to a quasi-civil body in 2011. Pro-China analyst says China has always considered the Myanmar army to be incompetent and corrupt. Aung San Suu Kyi's inherited power in 2016 after winning historic multi-party elections the previous year. Beijing found an eager partner. NLD opened up Myanmar's economy to other foreign investors, but not denying China. Aung San Suu Kyi was a frequent visitor to Beijing and talked up the need to pursue friendly relations with China for Myanmar's economic development. The NLD government signed up to China's plans for infrastructure projects worth $1 billion called the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor. China's President Xi Jinping made a historic visit to Myanmar in 2020 and hailed a new era of relations based on brotherly and sisterly closeness. It was the first visit to Myanmar by a Chinese leader in 19 years. But still now, China did not condemn the February coup. Pro-China analyst says because they have an ironclad role, no interference in the internal affairs of other countries. Really? Does it go with China, especially about Myanmar? On the day of the power grab, Chinese state media referred to what happened as a major cabinet reshuffle, while on February 3, China and Russia blocked the United Nations Security Council from issuing a statement condemning the military, although a day later, Beijing and Moscow did back a watered-down statement that expressed concern over a 12-month state of emergency declared by the military and called for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi. This is what China did not do before. Pro-China analysts tell media China wants stability on its border. and the military run Myanmar is no guarantee of stability. Beijing was also likely to be cautious about working with the military. So this is a different China.